The denizens here of Waldo Stadium cranked and ready to go. The Broncos led by their enthusiastic head coach, P.J. Fleck, with both oars in the water today. And the head coach, a moment ago, his voice intoning passionately inside.
You have an opportunity tonight to be the best team you can possibly be. The best team you can possibly be together. Keeping the main thing the main thing. And it comes down to one question. One question I have for you that tonight comes down to. Men, who wants to play the most? Who wants to play the most? Who wants to play the most? A Bronco-style football way. Let's go roll the boat.
The Broncos ready to go, 10-0. One of just two undefeated teams remaining in the country alongside Alabama. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, chopping it up alongside Rod Gilmore. Quint Kesnick down in the field joining us in just a bit. Rod, they have been keeping the main thing, and a great opportunity for them here today.
Yeah, don't you love that chat? That's wonderful. And you're right. You know, they're chasing this date for New Year's Day. They want a New Year's Six game. And they have an opportunity, but Boise State is still out there, and they're a problem hanging in the way just ahead of them in the college playoff ranking. So right now, they need a big win tonight, and they need to be impressive. Can they deliver?
Yeah, one of the questions, too, can they deliver in this weather? Quint Kesnick, down to you.
It's been pretty nasty today. Amazing that yesterday was 70 and sunny here in Kalamazoo. Today, right now, it's about 34 degrees. Wind out of the west-northwest, gusts up to 16 miles an hour. You can see the precipitation. As far as the wind goes, I asked Kurt Shiraka, Western Michigan's offensive coordinator, what the impact would be. On a scale of 1 to 10, he said it was a 3. And watching Zach Terrell, he cut his spirals pretty tight in the wind. I think it's going to be more testing for the specialists and people like myself, partial players, guys who aren't on the field the full 60 minutes.
Hey, get by that heater, partner.
He's
Stay
tough.
warm.
He can handle it. He'll be playing in the snow.
Waldo Stadium sold out here today for this historic event in Kalamazoo. This game, more than about what happens on the field, it's about the community and the surrounding area. We are underway. Buffalo winning the toss, deferring. The Broncos on the receiving end of this kickoff. Darius Phillips has a kickoff return already this season, brought down harmlessly just outside the 20-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for Zach Terrell, the starting quarterback. 23 touchdown passes on the season against just one interception. Amazing ratio there, and completing 70% of his passes, a fifth-year student athlete, and some very impressive statistics nationally.
They are a power running team, but he makes it go through the air. He has 86 career touchdown passes.
First down and 10. Jarvion Franklin in the backfield. Franklin on the play fake, and that's going to be a completion out to Carrington Thompson, number 15, the 6'2 senior working against Cameron Lewis. First and 10, 23-yard gain.
Well, the issue for Buffalo is dealing with the rushing attack and putting their guys in single coverage. And if they do that, they're going to have to deal with slant routes and the like from guys like Carrington Thompson. That's a big game to start for Western Michigan.
Yeah, Thompson, a nice compliment to number 84, Corey Davis, the leading receiver on the team. Davis also leads the country in touchdown receptions. This is Franklin running between the tackles. He put it on the ground on the first play of the game in their previous game, but rebounded nicely to be very productive. He picked up 4 that time, Rod.
Well, they have a really balanced attack. This is an offense that wants to punch you in the mouth, their rushing attack, and they're explosive on the outside. And the fact that they have the wind at their back right now gives them the opportunity to take some shots in this first quarter.
Second down and 6. You'll see that a lot today. They'll all look over to the sideline. On the jet sweep, number 84, Corey Davis, on the move, picked up the first down, all the way down to the 36-yard line. Hodge finally making the tackle. So he catches it well and he runs it well too, Rod.
Well, you'll hear more and more about him. He is a early round draft pick more than likely, is a guy who's really led college football as a receiver the last 4 years. The only guy in college football to have more than 900 yards receiving in each of his 4 seasons.
That's pretty impressive. First down and 10. From the 36. Pass is complete to Michael Henry, still on his feet, and Henry inside the 30. Another good gain of 7 yards, stopped up about 3 short of the first. He's their second leading receiver on the season.
Well, Davis is the guy who really gives the explosive aspect to this offense.
Franklin on the handoff. They blow the play dead. A flag down on the play. Here's the call.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Tell me about the speed of this Western Michigan offense, Rod. How do they like to run?
Well, it starts with Davis on the outside. I mean, he puts the fear of God in everybody in the secondary because he's a big physical receiver who can run by you. He's 4'4", 4.45, sort of in the 40-yard dash. That's moving. He's about 6'3", 215 pounds. He's a lot to handle.
Second down and 8. Franklin again between the tackles, stopped up in the pile. No gain on the play. I asked you about speed. What about the pace of this Bronco offense? Slow, fast, somewhere in between?
Well, they can dictate. They can change it. They can go hurry up when they want to. They can be deliberate. They tend to look over to the sideline an awful lot. You'll see Terrell under center. They'll get the play call. He'll step back. They'll all look over. This is a third down situation. They'll want the perfect play.
Third down and 8.
There's the look over.
Into the boundary, the pass complete, but short of the first down. Corey Davis didn't quite get to the marker. It's going to be a 7-yard gain, and an interesting call coming up here on 4th and short.
Yeah, they'll go for it. That was a really good tackle to keep Davis short, but now they may go hurry up here, keep the defense from getting set.
They're 12 of 13 on 4th down, and they're going to blow it dead. Look like P.J. Fleck called a timeout.
Western Michigan, their first of the half. This will be a 30-second time out.
We're going to stay right here, and you can't row the boat if you don't have both oars in the water ready to go, Rod.
How'd that pregame speech and the notion of rowing the boat, how'd that impact you?
Very enthusiastic approach from the head coach, P.J. Fleck, in his 4th year here at Western Michigan. And he really has a special type of connection with the players here. And it goes beyond the players in the locker room. Quinta, it's the entire community, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, with Coach Fleck, I compare it to that high school or college professor and that you looked forward to going to class in terms of the curiosity. He is connected with millennials in a way that I haven't seen across the landscape of college football. He loves to use visuals as well.
Coach Fleck with his millennials on 4th and 1. And Franklin, it's going to be close. Not sure that he got there. Ishmael Hargrove coming in to make the stop. And depending on the spot here, it does not appear as if he got it.
Yeah, they didn't even measure. And that's a huge stop for Buffalo. You're talking about an offensive line that is, you know, the best in the conference. And look at the penetration that they get. Great penetration up front. Chris Ford, 58, got into the backfield, and that disrupted everything. That's a tremendous effort by Ford, number 58, at 6'3", 315 pounds. That disrupted that play.
So it'll be first down and 10 for Buffalo. Grant Rohach going to be the starting quarterback here this week. Getting the start for Tyree Jackson, and more whistles. And
The ruling on the previous play was that the runner was short of the goal line. The play is under review.
I think what he meant to say was the first down marker, but we get it. Here's one more look at Franklin's run, and
yeah, remember that it's where the ball is. It's not his helmet. You may see his helmet break that yellow line, but not the football. See, the ball is about a yard or a half yard behind that. And so you have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. I'm not seeing anything to change that.
Yeah, that's the one intriguing thing I always find about football, and been watching it for decades, Rod. The art of marking the football at the perfect spot is one of the most inexact sciences in this beautiful game, isn't it?
Are you saying throwing darts? Throwing darts?
Almost. But great atmosphere here at a sold-out Waldo Stadium. The fans here have been anticipating this game since they were told that College Game Day and the crew were going to roll into town on Tuesday with the bus, Reese and the gang.
Did they get fired up for game day today or what? I mean, all week long.
Here's the call.
The ruling on the field that the runner was short of the line to gain stands. First down, Buffalo.
Lance Leipold, the head coach of Buffalo. His team 2-8 coming in. 1-5 in conference play. Rohach out of the shotgun. Hands it off to Jordan Johnson. A gaping hole over the left side and into Western Michigan territory at the 44-yard line. A missed tackle by Justin Ferguson and a 29-yard gain.
Well, they washed everything down inside. The left side of the line did. And then Johnson just cut it back outside. That's a tremendous job. Watch the left side of the line. Just wash everything inside. Johnson sees it, picks his way to the outside. And a huge, huge start for Buffalo. Good defensive stop, and then now a good opening play.
1st and 10 from the 45. Little jet sweep motion again. That was Jamari Island, brought down by Justin Tranquil. Let's take a look at the starting quarterback. Brent Rohach, the Iowa State transfer, actually played 7 games at Iowa State back in 2013. Lost his job the subsequent year. And then transferred, 5th-year transfer, able to become eligible immediately.
He started game 1 and then lost the job here to Tyree Jackson, redshirt freshman, who became the star quarterback.
Blitz on the weak side. He got it off in time, and he overshot Jonathan Hawkins, who was open. 3rd down and 6 as a result, and Rohach missing one there that could have been 6.
Yeah, this is his 2nd start of the season. He's a guy who, when he came out of high school, actually had a scholarship offer from Western Michigan. Instead wound up at Iowa State.
Yeah, had some great moments with the Cyclones, engineering their biggest comeback in school history at the time. Jordan Johnson back in the backfield. 3rd and 6. Rohach had it batted down at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete. Keon Adams, the team leader in sacks, leading the way.
Well, they're going to have to handle their pass protection, or Rohach's going to get beat up an awful lot. I mean, they had a blitz coming in from the blind side for him. He did not recognize it. They didn't adjust to it, and he took a pretty big shot over there.
Yeah, Nathan Brayster also getting a hand up, and in comes Kyle DeWeen to punt. Keep an eye on Darius Phillips, number 4 there. He already has a punt return for a touchdown this year, in addition to a kickoff return for a touchdown. And into the end zone it goes. 41 yards at all. It'll come back out. It'll be 1st down and 10 for the Broncos. Back to Kalamazoo right after this. Picking up signs right after the game day bus rolled into town on Tuesday. Everybody getting involved, and this morning that was the scene, an ocean of signs here in Kalamazoo. Reese and the gang holding it down, and even Sweetwater Donuts getting some specially made donuts for the crew. Still awaiting orange. 1st and 10 for the Broncos. They gash Buffalo up the middle in a nice run by Jarvian Franklin. Brought down by Tim Roberts and a gain of 12.
Row the boat, huh?
Both oars in. You want to be a row, not an anchor, right?
The story behind that goes how deep, how far?
Very passionate story, and A poignant story for head coach P.J. Fleck. First down and 10. Little receiver screen and dropped by Michael Henry. It's going to be marked at the 30-yard line. Yeah, P.J. Fleck lost his infant son many years ago, and in the ensuing mourning, the emerging lesson became one of persistence and perseverance and continuing to row the boat. Take a step forward every day. Keep trying. Keep moving forward.
You can put your oar in the water and participate, or you can just go along for the ride, which is not the thing to do.
Pass dropped over the middle by Davis. One of the few times you'll see that happen, folks. Sets up a 3rd and 12.
A lot of snow, a lot of wind, and that's the catch he normally makes. The ball's a little bit behind him. The thing I like about him is he catches or tries to catch everything with his hands. He's not one of those guys that uses his body to trap the ball.
Yeah, big, strong, great range, precise route runner. Fabian Johnson now at tailback. Terrell under heat and knocked down as soon as he tried to deliver it by Joe Keels, and that sets up 4th down. Rod, this very familiar and similar to their start in their last game when they fell behind 14-0 against Kent State.
Yeah, and that's the game that I think dropped them behind Boise State in the playoff rankings. You know, they were ahead of Boise State last week, but then as they had that tough game, they were leapfrogged by Boise State. And I think it was that poor start.
Mitchell punting. A line drive punt out of bounds just inside or around the 40-yard line. Remember, this is the 8th game of the series, but Buffalo has defeated the Broncos the last 2 times in a row. For the first time ever, the local donut shop getting into the spirit at Sweetwater's. They made specially made donuts for our game day gang. The signs were being made leading to Saturday's big show.
Oars in the water. Catch, drive, finish as we row our boat into new waters in Kalamazoo.
We just wanted to be very real, you know. It's not everybody. It's not for everybody. It's not everybody's way, but it's our way.
Who are you going to go on a limb and say Western Michigan?
Damn right.
When we say that this is historic for P.J. Fleck in Western Michigan, those are his words too. He said he wanted to change the culture here when he first got here several years ago and to tie the community together, involving everybody. Really, it's bigger than a bowl game. He says it's bigger than a conference championship. Being in the spotlight here today against Buffalo on national television. On the run, a little wildcat action. Jordan Johnson picking up a few yards.
But when he got here, they went 1-11. And he said, didn't have many friends. He said, in fact, his wife left him.
Yeah.
Said there weren't friends, people weren't supportive, and he just kept believing in his program and what he wanted to do. And that vision came to pass.
At 1-11, followed by a couple of 8-5 seasons. 2nd down and 6 for the Bulls. Rohach over the middle, complete to McGill as we go down to Quint for more.
Slow start for the Broncos here. Begs the question about a kind of a different week here. You mentioned the word historic, but the last day and a half has been anything but typical for this team, with the distraction of game day, the excitement. The student body was there last night at 7 o'clock. They waited all through the night to be a part of the pit. Today's activities, and I get the sense right now that this group is a little juiceless. And you know what? If you're juiceless, you're useless.
Oh, Q, I knew you'd weave that in. That's one of the many sayings of head coach P.J. Fleck. Nice cutback move there by Johnson. A flag down on the play. Johnson brought down to the 23-yard line. We'll see if this stands. Johnson with a spirited run.
Holding. Offense. Number 77. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
That's against James O'Hagan, the center, Rod.
Well, not hard to see that. You grab the front part and hang on. But back to Q's point, this is an opportunity for Buffalo. I mean, if Western Michigan is a little juiceless, chance to make some plays, chance to jump out ahead early.
Well, you know, Coach Fleck actually does his best to make sure that they've got juice, and I mean that in a literal sense. We'll
you mean
tell
like
you more about that later.
Like a juice box or something?
Yeah.
Really?
Special delivery. 1st and 20 coming up for the Bulls. Little play action fake incomplete at the 40-yard line, intended for Marcus McGill, their second leading receiver behind their tight end Mason Schreck. And 2nd down and long. There's a look at Rohach. Rohach, the starting quarterback for the first game of the season, did not go very well for him. Ended up losing the starting job to Tyree Jackson. But even during the time that he was the backup up until this game, he's been a very engaged and strong mentor for the redshirt freshman Tyree Jackson, who's sitting this one out with a knee injury. 2nd and 20. Pass complete to McGill. Got about 2 yards on the play. Darius Phillips there to make the stop. 3rd down coming up. Darius Phillips, pretty good DB, has 3 pick sixes this year. I'm not sure how much you want to throw his way, Rod.
He's going to get bored today. And there's no way that you should be looking in his direction. The direction they should be looking is down here. And that's their big guy. That's Mason Schreck, their tight end. He's their leading receiver.
Little motion up front on the left side of that offensive line. Rubens Joseph appeared to move.
False start. Offense. Number 71. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So, Jonesy, the problem for Buffalo is that you've got the opportunity here. You've had it in this first quarter. The crowd isn't into it. Western Michigan is making enough mistakes to give you a chance. You've been in their territory, and you haven't taken advantage, and you can't blow these opportunities right now. Now it's 3rd and 20 plus.
Rohach escapes, but brought down at the 45-yard line. Good backside pressure by Keon Adams. 4th down, they'll have to punt. Buffalo outscored big time in the first quarter so far this year.
That's why they need to start fast. And Western Michigan is giving them the opportunity to start fast, but Buffalo hasn't been able to take advantage of it.
There's the punt from DeWeen. And harmlessly bouncing into the end zone, 47 yards in all. It'll come back out. 1st down and 10. Not a whole lot of rowing going on right now, but plenty of football to be played. We'll be right back. Group of 5. San Diego State leading Wyoming right now, 7-3 in Mountain West action.
It's not going to make Western Michigan fans happy. Keep in mind that if Wyoming loses one more game, like today, if they lose to San Diego State, Boise State will have the upper hand in that Mountain West Conference. And if they get a championship, they're still ahead of the Broncos.
1st down and 10. Davis on the jet sweep. Gets it with a head of steam. Turns it north-south. And out to the 26-yard line. We're talking about those group of 5 contenders. And there's a look at the story right now. Boise State leading that group at 20. And then San Diego State on the fringes right now.
Remember, you have to be a conference champ. So Boise State right now is on the outside looking in. But if Wyoming loses, Boise State will be in the front position for getting a conference championship.
2nd down and 4. Davis on a little receiver screen. Got a nice block out in front of him by number 15, Carrington Thompson, leading the way. and a 9-yard gain on the play. In speaking with Zach Terrell yesterday at practice, Rod, he said that Buffalo's tough up front. He says we got to be balanced running and passing the ball, especially with what the weather might be, and it's kind of been prophetic so far.
Clear advantage on the perimeter, though, for Western Michigan. Whether it's Davis, Thompson, Henry, they've got a real advantage outside.
Franklin in at tailback. Takes the handoff and nowhere to go. Hit immediately by Brandon Crawford. Brandon Crawford, number 55 for the Buffalo Bulls. Making the stop on the play. And he's a Florida guy from Madison, Florida. But this Buffalo-type weather doesn't deter him at all. I'm known to walk around campus in sleeveless T-shirts in 30-degree weather.
Jonesy, take a look out there. That looks like a clear matchup.
Now at the top.
Yeah, that's a matchup.
Carrington, Thompson out there. They come the other way, though. Knocked out and knocked down by Boise Ross. A nice play.
Well, you can't ignore that. When you get Davis in single coverage, you have to take advantage of that. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's likely to be a second-round pick, and who knows, he could wind up in the first round of the draft, given someone falling in love with him during the combine process. When you get him in that situation, you have to take that chance and look his way.
See if Terrell looks at him this time. He's split to the top of your screen again.
And now they have a safety over the top who has the potential to help out.
Low snap. Terrell goes through his progression and comes underneath on the check down and short of the first down. A 5-yard gain by Michael Henry. So things not quite working out for the Broncos, partner, as we go down to Q.
You see massive substitutions on special teams for Western Michigan. PJ Fleck does not believe in using starters on special teams. He likes to reward some of his substitutes with time on these units. He says they're going to give me 110%. I'd rather have that than a starter who's only at 90%.
See what they get done on coverage here, Quint. Watching it roll down all the way to the 23-yard line. Team that averages over 44 a game without any points on the board yet. Well, tonight at 8 p.m. on ABC, it's a Big 12 battle between number 9 Oklahoma and number 14 West Virginia and Morgantown, with the winner keeping their college football playoff hopes alive. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Sooners are 7-0 in the Big 12, and Rod, some people kind of forgot about them after that early stumble against Texas, and they bounced back nicely.
Yeah, they need a win tonight like that over a ranked team to help them out because they don't have one. But I want to get back to Quint's point. That was fairly interesting about the special teams.
Yeah, teams and coaches using various strategies and theories. Here's a direct snap Wildcat. Jordan Johnson going to keep it and brought down right at the line of scrimmage. Your point on the special teams.
Well, a lot of coaches believe just the opposite of what PJ Fleck believes, and that is they want their starters on special teams because they think they'll get better performance from starters, experienced players, as opposed to backups. And you will see a lot of coaches say, hey, I'm not going to play freshmen or subs on there because we'll have breakdowns and we could lose something on special teams. So it's a fairly interesting, different approach.
2nd and 10. See if the Bronco defense can get a stop. It'll be 3rd down at about 5. Q?
Yeah, PJ lived that role. You know, coming out of Northern Illinois, he was on the 49ers for 2 years. 1 year he played one play, returned a punt. The next year he was on injured reserve. So he understands the role on special teams and how important it can be for a third stringer and how it makes practice better, how it makes your locker room better if everybody's got an oar and it's in the water.
No, I get it. Folks will think differently if a guy breaks 175 and you lose on special teams. You go get those starters out there.
I mean, I think some guys naturally have bigger oars than other guys, right? We're 3rd down and 5. Over the middle, dangerous pass, but caught short of the first down by Marcus McGill. And that'll bring up a 4th down situation, about 2 to go on the 3-yard gain on the play. See where they spot it. Looks like there's a flag down as well.
Illegal shift, offense. Number 24, players without a reset. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
All right, going to be 4th down now for Buffalo, and Kyle DeWeen going to come in and punt. He's had 2 blocked this year, and there's the full change of personnel, special teams-wise.
It's like hockey.
Yeah. Big shift. Of course, the one guy they didn't take off is Darius Phillips, who has a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown this year, along with a punt return, and 3 pick sixes. 4th down and 1.
I'd say don't kick it to him then.
Yeah. Well, Coach Leipold said that they were going to directional kick for the first time this year. Little rugby-style approach to it. Not this time. DeWeen with a high spiral, and Phillips gets rocked right away at the 26-yard line. 43-yard punt, nothing on the return. Great coverage by Tyler Mabry. 1st down and 10 for the Broncos.
You know, there's been a lot of speculation about P.J. Fleck and what he's done this season and his future. Remember, he was only 32 years old when he took over here. And now there are a lot of programs out there looking at him and the job he's done here and thinking he could be their next coach. And I remember pulling in here yesterday and picking up my rental car, and the guy behind the counter goes, "Yeah, great coach. Too bad we're losing him." I'm like, really? He's still here. How do you know he's leaving?
Enjoy him. Enjoy him at least while you have him. 1st down and 10. Gain of about 2 yards by Franklin. They went 1-11 their first year, Quinn. What a turnaround by Fleck.
Yeah, and he's a hot name nationally, and he should be. We actually bumped into his agent, Brian Harlan, who was here in town this week. Harlan represents both head coaches that are playing right now, and a bunch in the NFL and around the college football landscape. PJ's going to have some options. He's going to have some decisions to make. Keep in mind, right now, it's only Purdue, Baylor, and LSU, potentially the only 3 jobs open as of right now, correct?
Yeah, I don't think he's a fit.
That could change quickly when the season ends or before. This is Terrell brought down. Got about a yard on the play. Ishmael Hargrove on the pursuit. And, boy, this Bronco team, a rhythmic offensively.
Yeah, I don't think he fits at LSU. They're looking for a guy who's won championships, I believe, or they're going to keep Orgeron.
That would be an out-of-the-box hire for them?
Yeah, and I don't think Baylor is the right fit for him either, given the problems that they've had there. I think they'll probably look elsewhere. Yeah. But I think there are going to be other places, in addition to Purdue, that will be open and would consider him. It's a question of whether he'd be interested.
And great energy that he's infused here into the program and the community. 3rd and 7. Looking for a little energy and offense. The completion to Davis. Boy, he hit the B button on the switch and the pivot and spun like a DJ on a turntable. What a move, Rod.
The change of direction is what throws you off for a guy who's this size. It's 6'2", 215. He has the moves of a guy who's about 5'10", 5'9", and can change direction. So he's got an awful lot of skills, a great skill set to show.
Of the first quarter.
And that's the end of the first 15 minutes of play. PJ Fleck's team still stuck in neutral, though. 0-0 on the board. 29-yard line, and you see some of the volatility and combustibility of that Bronco offense. 27 yards.
Yeah, and he's a big target, too, at about 6'3". Nice big window for Terrell to get to him. You see him in the slot there, gets behind the linebacker, the play action, wide open space.
1st down and 10. From the 29-yard line, Davis, a very interesting story. His journey here to Kalamazoo. They fake the jet sweep, fumble, and Buffalo has it. On the turnover, Ryan Williamson recovering the fumble on the handoff to Fabian Johnson.
Every time Western Michigan begins to move, they give Buffalo an opportunity. They don't turn it over often. In fact, they were the last team in FBS to have a turnover this year, and that was in Game 7, and they just blew a drive right there with this fumble. Wow.
Hargrove made the hit on the play. And the Bulls defense comes up with a huge play and a turnover. First down and 10, coming back the other way from the 24-yard line. Second quarter, and a surprising score so far. The Broncos were prohibitive favorites going into this game. Jonathan Hawkins in the backfield. They're going to pass, though. Incomplete. Intended for Holsey. Tamati Holsley. And that's been an underlying problem this year, Rod, with the receiving corps. They've had a lot of drops. No nice way to say it.
Absolutely, which is why I'm surprised they haven't gone back to Shrek, who's the most reliable guy that they have out there. They've gone more than a quarter and haven't really looked his way. At some point, you got to get to your best players and get them the football. And that's that guy right there.
Shrek with 50 receptions coming into the game. None today. Rohach keeps it. Gains about 3 on the play. Brought down by Keon Adams. It's up a third down.
Well, at least they got Shrek involved. He was the lead blocker, but I think you've got to find him. You've got to throw him the football. You can't go the entire second quarter and ignore him as well. I mean, you're in a 0-0 game. You've got to make plays. He's a mismatch problem. He was ignored the first quarter. You have a third down. Now's the time to get him involved. There he is, right there.
Number 85 in black. Robinson in motion to the top of your screen. Not time enough to throw. He's sacked at the 21. Jackson came in and had bad intentions the entire time.
Well, they ran a blitz where they brought a couple of backers. You'll see a lot of action come from this area over here. They'll bring a couple of them, and it can't be blocked. They actually bring 3. No one over there to pick it up. It's an overload, and that's a problem for Rohach.
The 22nd sack of the season for Western Michigan. Fourth down come up. See if Darius Phillips gets an opportunity here. A high punt. He'll have a chance at the 33. Phillips fumbles it. Still loose. Boy, Buffalo had a great chance. Not sure that they got it, though. It was a nice hit by Brandon Williams, and the Broncos, fortunately, recover it.
I think Quint's onto something. I think everything that's happened this week has really zapped the focus of Western Michigan. This is a team that doesn't turn the football over, and this is the third time I think we've seen him put it on the ground.
Boy, did he ever.
You talk about a big emotional week, game day, you know, friends and family, all the attention.
You ever remember a time in your career where you had a big game and coach changed your routine? Of course, you played for a guy that was pretty flatteringly rigid. Yes, no, maybe?
I was always good.
No, I'm talking about
always focused.
Well, it didn't matter what time. Didn't matter what the routine was. First and 10. Franklin on the run over the left side. Still on his feet. Quint?
Well, you think about this program, 10-0, but in their minds, they're the underdog. They're the MAC school that no one's paying attention to nationally. Finally, game day comes to town. They're watching it on TV today. Everyone's patting them on the back. And for the first time, they've got to deal with celebrity or in this community really being put up on the pedestal. And I think that has been a semi-distraction here as they have gotten off to a slow start.
Yeah, certainly have, Quint. 12 minutes to go in the first half. They have yet to score. Davis on the receiver screen, trying to get to the edge and chop down at the 46. Let's go back to the studio. Walsh never changed your routine? No?
He was all right.
I just thought we'd have a little fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. First down and 10 after that run by Corey Davis. This is Franklin again. Maybe got a yard. And we're talking about how this is such a big stage nationally for Western Michigan. Rod, you played for Bill Walsh, the guy that won Super Bowls. Was there ever a time where he changed the routine, national spotlight, things were a little different for your Sanford Cardinal?
Well, Bill was really big about dealing with family and friends. That was the biggest distraction, that you had to take care of the whole issue with tickets, the friends who were calling and whatnot. So when you had a big game, he didn't worry about your focus for the game. He worried about having your energy zapped by friends and family, and he would help you handle that and tell you, if you can't deal with it, I'll help you deal with it.
Usually what he said worked. Pass complete to Michael Henry. Pushed out of bounds about 3-yard shot. Of course, you had all those tickets you had to take care of.
Well, you know
right?
how it goes. You start getting the phone calls.
Right.
Hey, can I hang out? Can I do this? And I'm sure these guys dealt with it this week. Are you going to game day? Hey, can I get a ticket? So that drains you.
3rd down and 3. Terrell keeps it himself and slides in safely and perilously safe for the 1st down. Got it by no more than a yard. And he got down at the last possible moment. Watch this.
It's like he just missed a shot.
Ball on the 43. First and 10. Franklin with nowhere to go. This Buffalo defense staunch and stout up front.
Well, they're focused on stopping the run, and they've been reacting to the quick passes and the like to Davis. And I think it's the right approach. It's a good approach. This is an offense that likes to run the ball at you. They like to punch you in the mouth. And Buffalo is focused on stopping that, and they're taking their chances on the outside.
2nd and 12. Keep an eye out for Corey Davis, number 84. Terrell over the middle, complete. Davis brought down on the fringes of field goal range, and another 1st down of 23 yards on that play.
Nothing fancy, just a little dig route from the right to the left, coming open in the middle. We've seen it earlier in this ball game, but you got single coverage and you're focused on dealing with stopping the run. You're putting guys in a tough spot, and that time you're asking a guy like Slack to match up with a guy he can't.
Well, when P.J. Fleck took the job 3.5 years ago, one of the first players he visited was Corey Davis. Try and maintain that commitment. This is Franklin on the run, and Franklin brought down after a gain of about 3 in inside field goal range. And Fleck said that he went to Corey Davis's school, sat down with Davis and his academic advisor. Davis had admittedly had some academic issues early in his high school career, but his story was so compelling that it brought everybody to tears in the meeting.
Well, compelling because you're talking about a guy who moved out of his home as a high school junior to move in with his Pee Wee football coach and who became his legal guardian.
Great success story to make it just this far. 2nd and 7. Davis on the slant and going to go to work. Oh, he dropped some sauce on him. Touchdown. Corey Davis with his MAC record 48th career touchdown.
Well, he told me yesterday when he sees single coverage, he just starts thinking, I'm licking my chops. And he had Slack out there one-on-one and knew exactly where he was, like he had eyes in the back of his head, which is why he spun to the outside on him.
Boy, what a move after the catch.
Yeah.
By Corey Davis. Those two have such great chemistry. And for Terrell, that's going to be his 24th touchdown pass of the season against just 1 interception. And the Broncos finally on the board, undefeated, just one of 2 remaining undefeateds. He didn't hit it with the 1-piece. That was the 2-piece, Rod. No biscuit included. Time to bounce for the game day gang. What a week it's been here in Kalamazoo. For the school, for the community, for us at ESPN, being able to come here to Kalamazoo and have game day here for the first time. And Rod, I've been calling college football games for 26 years. This is my first visit to Kalamazoo.
Well, it's about time.
Love it, yeah.
About time you got here.
Thanks for having us, folks. Some action. Mid-American Conference. 7-0. Buffalo down by a touchdown. Zach Terrell completing his last 8 passes. First down and 10 for Grant Rohach, trying to get a little offense going when we return. Oakland Raiders. His Bulls trailing right now, 7-0. I saw a great feature on SportsCenter about the NFL's impact in Mexico, how there's so many loyal Cowboy and Steeler fans down there, especially. There's a look at their number 1 target, finally getting the ball to Mason Schreck, who picks up 3. Rod, they may have heard you, trying to go to him maybe a little bit here.
Yeah, it's a little late, but it's never too late. So a first down play with him, I think, is a good start. 2nd and 7, but they have to get him more involved. That was his 51st catch, and he is a matchup issue, so he's been a decoy long enough.
Big guy who was a former high school quarterback, can run a bit. 2nd and 7. Malcolm Robinson split wide to the bottom of your screen. Handoff is to Jordan Johnson. And Johnson's going to set up a 3rd down, about 3 to go for Buffalo. For the Bulls, it has been a disappointing season, even though expectations were lower than they were previously. Last year, they lost a bunch of experienced guys, 3 starters on the offensive line, and boy, from the very jump with Rohach, a quarterback first game, lost to Albany and things went south. 0 for 4 on 3rd down. Make that 0 for 5 today on 3rd down.
And this is where it starts to get dangerous for Buffalo. And Rohach looks like he's a little banged up. And remember, he's in for Jackson, who's got a bad knee. And it's dangerous now because you just gave up a score. Your offense is essentially 3 and out. And you're going to turn the ball back over to an offense that is pretty hot. As you mentioned earlier, Terrell has been hot throwing the ball lately.
Yeah, made his last 8 in a row. 4th down coming up, Kyle DeWeen punting to the always dangerous Darius Phillips. Back at his own 30-yard line, a high spiral. And Phillips calls for the fair catch. Perhaps he was thinking about that fumble on the previous punt return. 44 yards on the punt. Nothing on the return. Rohach nursing those hurts.
How do you deal with me when I'm going to press you here?
Okay, if you're head up like that, I'm going to attack your leverage. So I'm going to attack you outside.
Step and attack?
Like this.
And I'm trying here. Go ahead and go.
I'm going to give you a jab step back inside to keep you honest, and then I'm going to shed right there.
Yep.
And I'm going to get my express up in the ground and get vertical.
Okay, so now you got me because you've got size and you can get that fade right.
Exactly.
Well, if you're going to press him, you better be physical because he's physical. They don't get physical with him, and you see him just wipe away that weak attempt to get physical with him, and that's a touchdown. I mean, he is such a physical and fast receiver. He showed you and showed me yesterday how he can deal with press coverage.
He didn't hit you with the same arm movement he hit that dude with.
Fortunately, he went in slow motion.
Good thing Rod Gilmore in the lab with Corey Davis yesterday. 1st down and 10. Terrell, who's been red hot. Another completion to his big tight end, Donnie Ernsberger. Quint?
Corey wants to be coached, the words of P.J. Fleck, and we saw it firsthand how he stayed after practice on Friday for 30 minutes running routes with his quarterback. And he's the hardest worker on this team and obviously the most talented player on this team. He sets the tone because none of the other receivers went home until Corey was done with his extra reps.
Yeah, part of the great culture here at Western Michigan. Always great when your best player is your hardest worker. Look at the routine look over. 4 on the play clock. Franklin keeps it and is brought down to the 35 by Hargrove.
How can you not root for Corey Davis? I mean, you've heard about his work ethic and his talent and all that, but as we mentioned earlier, a guy who left home as a high school junior because he grew up in a tough environment, had 6 siblings, his parents were struggling, and knew what he needed to do to get his academic life together and to help himself. And how can you not root for a guy like that?
Yeah, great story of perseverance. Like his favorite rapper, Meek Mill, he's dream chasing. That time he couldn't squeeze it. Incomplete. Near midfield, and sets up 3rd down and 10. And, you know, not only his receiving skills, which he broke down with you, Rod, yesterday, but, you know, his coaches say if there's a better blocking wide receiver in the country, we haven't seen him yet. You know,
well, his brother,
pretty physical guy,
got some help from his brother who played at Central Michigan. NFL player himself now.
And Titus. 3rd down and 10.
Timeout, Buffalo. Their first of the half.
Bulls called timeout.
Media timeout.
Looking for their 3rd win in a row against the Broncos when we come back. All right, guys, and what a week for the College Football Playoff Committee. And Rob, what'd you think of the rankings this week?
Don't get me started on the committee. Don't get me started.
You were sitting on that fastball, man.
Don't get me
lie.
started.
3rd down and 10. Terrell steps up and delivers incomplete. In and out of the arms of Carrington Thompson. 4th down.
I could clear up all the confusion with the committee, but they don't want to do it.
Chaos, we call it, right?
You know how you clear it up? Huh. You simply use your factor of the conference championship and project it. And if you projected that, you'd have the public see how you viewed a conference championship, and you'd clear up a lot of issues.
Yeah, right now there seems a lot of confusion out there.
No, that's too easy.
Criteria seem a little nebulous.
Why use an objective one when you can't?
Fair catch called back at the 27-yard line by Island. Well, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC, Big 12 action. Number 9 Oklahoma, number 14 West Virginia from Morgantown, with winner keeping their college football playoff hopes alive, in spite of what Rod Gilmore says. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Mountaineers haven't lost at home this season. They're 5-0.
Well, that's a good example. Oklahoma is number 9.
Right.
And the committee said, well, we don't reward teams who don't have any top 25 wins. Oklahoma doesn't have any top 25 wins. They were number 9. When the chairman was asked, why are they number 9? The answer was, we like their offense.
Okay.
Seriously? Just make it up week to week.
It's a little vague. Is that, you're saying that's a little vague?
Just
huh?
give us some things we can hang our hat on. Just a few.
1st down and 10. Jordan Johnson between the tackles picks up 3 on the play. Robert Spillane making the stop.
But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's good because people get to argue and complain every week,
and
no one knows what they're complaining about because they don't know what the factors are.
And round we go. The rankings show Tuesday at 7. Boy, when we look at what happened last Saturday, 2, 3, and 4 all losing.
And did not drop, really, except for Washington.
2nd down and 7. There's Jordan Johnson again. Johnson actually broke the school record against Akron a couple of weeks ago.
And the Western Michigan fans were irate after those rankings last week as well.
With good reason?
They were ahead of Boise State going into last weekend. And then after the rankings came out, they were behind them. And they said, well, what happened? We didn't lose.
Yeah.
How do we fall behind them when we didn't lose and Boise State has the loss?
Yeah, that one was tough to figure out. And saw a bunch of signs during College Game Day this morning that expressed their dissatisfaction with the College Football Playoff Committee. 3rd and 4 coming up for the Bulls. Pass complete at the 34. That's short of the first down. Holsey makes the catch. That's going to be the 4th 3 and out for Buffalo today. Under 4 minutes to go.
Well, they've had opportunities. I mean, Western Michigan put the ball on the ground 3 times with decent field position. Buffalo has not capitalized.
Darius Phillips back on his 25-yard line, still awaiting an opportunity to break one. Guy that has 5 non-offensive touchdowns this year already, 1 on a punt return. And this one is a poor punt that bounces at the 38-yard line. Not one of the better efforts by Kyle DeWeen. Traveled just 27 yards. And we're going to stay right here with just under 3.5 minutes to go. First down and 10 for Western Michigan. And we were talking about it a little bit earlier. Undefeated, 10-0. And think back to some great people that have come to school here. Our great late friend John Saunders played hockey here at Western Michigan, Kalamazoo, him and his brother Bernie.
Great to see the game day signs and folks acknowledging John Saunders and remembering him, as we all do.
First down and 10. Little play action. Terrell with time to survey, wide open at the 40-yard line and beyond. Henry. And a first down. He got cut down by his own guy. Davis downfield after already being tackled. But a big gain here.
Yeah, Davis took a lot of the coverage down the field. You'll see that Terrell was looking first for him and then comes back around for Henry, who's crossing. But Davis, watch him as he goes down the field and watch the black shirts that go with him. 3 guys. 3 guys follow him. That opens up it underneath for Henry.
Certainly attracting a lot of attention. Little receiver screen. That's number 15, Carrington Thompson, trying to fight off a group of tacklers led by Boise Ross. Under 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think if you're Buffalo here and this is awfully risky, I think you roll the dice. I think this is where you need a big defensive play. You need a sack. You need a tackle for a loss. The downside is you might give up 6, on the back end playing single coverage against Davis, but they can't afford to just sit back because they can't stop these guys.
Davis to the bottom of your screen here, wide. Terrell looks his way on the quick slant, incomplete. Nicely batted away by Boise Ross, and it's good to see the second-team All-MAC player bounce back. It's been a rough past 4 weeks for him since being injured.
Yeah, he's banged up, and when he's healthy, he's the best guy they have to play Davis. He's got a good skill set. He can hang in there, but he's been compromised help-wise, so he's doing the best he can when he's out there, and that was a really nice play.
There was some thought that he might not be ready to go here this afternoon. 3rd and 9 from the 20. Terrell. Caught. Touchdown, Franklin.
Hey, Jonesy, you've seen the wheel route before. Franklin out of the backfield, confusion on the back end, and just the power by Franklin to get into the end zone.
Yeah, he shed Boise Ross. Throwing him off to the side and running into the end zone for the touchdown. His second touchdown catch this season. The extra point no good off the upright. But there was a flag down on the play.
Personal foul, roughing the snapper, defense, number 58, half the distance, retry.
Look at another opportunity. Butch Hampton will try it again. There's a look at Jarvion Franklin. .208 to go. Western Michigan leading just 13-0, just 2 touchdowns, accounting for all their scoring, and overwhelming favorite coming into this game. And this time Hampton knocks it through. And here's a look at the penalty that was called on roughing the snapper.
Put him on his back.
Where the Broncos like to say it's what you do in the zoo that matters. And right now, the Broncos leading 14-0. Sold out stadium here today. National television appearance. Game day here since Tuesday. And right now, the number 21 ranked team in the college football playoff poll and standings looking to get a little offensive momentum. A little underwhelming so far. Let's go one back look at the touchdown here, Rod. What was the key?
Well, it's just a wheel route, and it's out of the backfield. You'll see this. Now watch the backer try to get there, but he's got to negotiate all this debris in the way. It's a pick, and he can't get there. Easy play, easy throw. Here's your touchdown. Now, pick play.
Pick.
Yeah.
That's a 4-letter word, man.
But it's not illegal when it's not called, and nobody actually knocked him off. He actually did a good job. The linebacker did a good job getting away from it.
And a nice run by saw Franklin just throw the defender off. First down and 10. Buffalo looking for something here offensively and handing it off to Jordan Johnson, arguably their most dynamic player on the field right now. Remember, if you're just joining us, Tyree Jackson, the redshirt freshman quarterback who grew up about an hour and a half from here, unable to go today, suffering from a knee injury that he suffered in their last game.
And they miss him. They are struggling. They have 2 first downs. They've had 4 3-and-outs, and they've yet to convert a 3rd down conversion.
2nd and 5. Rohach keeps it on the decide option, and Keon Adams makes the tackle. Adams, maybe their best player up front this year with 5.5 sacks.
Yeah, and for Buffalo, Jonesy, the thing that they miss most with Jackson is the quarterback design runs. He's so good at that, and so he's out, and Rohach is trying to do what he can, but that's not the number one thing of his game. He's a solid passer, but the ability to run those quarterback plays.
3-0 on the clock. 1:30.
He got the start here today in place of Jackson, just his 2nd of the season. Began the year, first game of the season against Albany. Had a rough outing, subsequently lost the job to Jackson. Jackson hurt last week, and Rohach back in. Jackson, pretty good looking quarterback off the hoof. I mean, you look at him and he's, all of 6'6", 6'7".
6'7", 245, yeah. Well, and this is another tough spot for Buffalo. They haven't picked up a 3rd down. They need one. If they don't pick one up here, Western Michigan will have an opportunity to get a score right before halftime, and that could really open up things.
0 for 6 on 3rd down. Rohach going to try and do it himself, and he does. Let's look at the spot. It appeared as if he went beyond the 35-yard line to get the first down. That would be the first time that they did it on 3rd down today. Clock running with 1:17 to go in the first half.
Well, that's huge. That gives them a chance to try to pick something up, but at the very least, they have a chance to run the clock out and go in at halftime down 2 scores and not give Western Michigan the ball back.
Jordan Johnson beside Rohach. McGill in motion. Johnson to the edge. Chopped down at the 40-yard line. They've had some pretty decent backs come through the doors at Buffalo. James Starks, Brandon Oliver?
Jonesy, you've got 2 timeouts. And you're not that far out of field goal range. It looks like they've got the wind with them a little bit. You could hustle up and take a couple shots here.
And the snow starting to swirl a little bit too.
Yeah, it looks like it might be in their face now.
Yeah, with just 14 seconds now, they're going to be content to just go into the locker room.
Yep.
Big hole over the right side. Jonathan Hawkins with the run. Picks up 10 on the play and a first down for Buffalo. But maybe a situation of what could have been, Rod, as you pointed out, a couple of timeouts and a chance to perhaps take a shot. I mean, why not? It's already been a year where, and at this point, you really have nothing to lose.
Yeah, I think he sort of felt like, they hadn't gotten anything done. They just want to get to the locker room. But, yeah, you got 2 timeouts in 50 seconds, 45 seconds.
Timer.
Might have been worth
Please
it.
place 3 seconds on the game clock.
Yeah, they're going to put 3 seconds back on the clock. Coach Leipold looking for an extra second.
Seriously? Now, wait a minute. Look, you had 2 timeouts and you had 40 seconds and you chose to let it all run down.
Now he wants.
Why are you keeping seconds now?
All right. Well, looks like Western Michigan is going to put 3 defenders all the way back on the goal line. Let's see how many they rush. I know my partner likes you to rush at least 4.
If you're looking at Hail Marys, you rush 4, or rush 3, have a 4th as a spy, and then send him late.
Seen a lot of strange things happen on throws into the end zone. They come underneath to the tight end, Shrek. And Shrek inside the 20 to the 17.
I don't get it. I'm just saying, you had 2 timeouts. You had 2. You could have got that and had time to try a field goal.
Yeah. Well, they're going to go into the locker room down 14-0 instead on that 31-yard pass and catch by Mason Shrek. PJ Fleck's team looking to stay perfect. First time that this school has been 10-0 in its football program's history. Now let's go downstairs to Quint.
Coach, how would you best describe the initial 20 or so minutes of this game?
Sloppy, very sloppy, but they'll get it fixed. We'll go in there. We got elite coaching staff. They'll make the adjustments we need. We're just beating ourselves, not taking care of the football, which is something that we value very much in this program. And when you don't do what you're supposed to do and you don't do what your culture is meant to do, that's the result.
How do you best describe the play of Corey Davis?
Well, I think it's inconsistent right now. Let's be honest, inconsistent. So we've got to be able to make the plays that he can make all the time, and I think he'd say the same thing. But us as coaches, we got to find a way to get this thing better.
Thank you.
You got it. Really well.
All right, Davis, 9 catches, 130 yards, 14-0 at the half. Inconsistent, guys? Wow. What do you think back in the studio? Back at Waldo Stadium under the lights in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Number 21, Western Michigan, up 14-0 in a rather disjointed first half of play for the Broncos with bigger things ahead. Mark Jones alongside Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesnick joining us just a bit. The dynamic duo came on late in the first half.
We weren't kidding. I mean, we told you that they were pretty good and that they'd be worth watching, and they really stepped up. Terrell and Davis, they've done it throughout their careers. They stepped up in this ball game and connected time and time again. Davis, his first half, total receiving yards, 130. Now about 18 of 24 for Terrell. These two have put on the show that led to the 14 points that put Western Michigan up, and that's been the deal for them. And their numbers have just been fantastic. Look at this, 240 yards passing for Terrell, 130 receiving for Davis, and each participating in the scoring in the first half.
Maybe the most surprising thing of the first half was listening to Coach Fleck's comments to Quint at the end of the break. When asked about Davis's performance, Coach Fleck said, inconsistent. 130 yards receiving?
Well, there was one ball he bobbled.
Wow.
It wasn't perfect.
I wouldn't want him grading my papers in college. There's PJ Fleck, fourth-year head coach, 10-0 this year. Came to this program. They were 1-11 his first year, followed by a couple of 8-5 seasons.
Don't you love his slogans, though?
Yes. I like family. That's
family.
My favorite.
What's family?
Family means forget about me, I love you. From the 1-yard line, Jonathan Hawkins. And tripped up as we go down to Quint.
We need to get better blocking from our tight end, Donnie Ernsberger. The words of PJ Fleck. It's a run game that comes into this game. Number 13 in the country. They only had 39 yards rushing in the first half. You think about their 2 tackles, Moton and Okorafor, the big monsters, not getting it done right now. To me, that's the biggest surprise of this game and concern.
Interesting. That offense averaging over 44 points a game. And
I give a little credit to Buffalo. They've played good defense in that first half, committing to stopping the run, and gave up some passing yards.
First down and 10 for the Bulls. On the slant, Shrek makes the catch, and he's a load to try and bring down. He falls forward for the first down, picks up 10 yards on the play.
Just an entry pass into the post. You know, he's a big guy. He just turned and got the linebacker, safety on his back, and said, "Give me the ball. I'm ready to score here."
Making his first start in the first game of the season.
You got to use him more. Use Shrek more.
First-year starter. Little bunch formation to the top of your screen. 3 receivers for the Bulls. Jordan Johnson in the backfield. And Johnson takes the ball and proceeds to lose about 2.5 yards. Quint?
Yeah, I find it odd when we spoke to the Buffalo coaching staff yesterday. They said, we got to match haymakers. We need explosive plays. Yeah, we're going to control the clock, but we need to take some shots. They had great field possession in that first half. Did they take any shots?
No.
I don't remember any.
No, they did not. And they had 3 turnovers, which gave them opportunities. And Quint, without taking those shots, I don't know how they're going to score. I mean, they only got Shrek involved, late in the second quarter.
Second down and 11. I'm hearing both of you guys say that Buffalo's a little conservative here today. There's the shot they were looking to take, and off the mark, but at least Rod and Quint looked like they had designs on one there.
I've always believed that you have to throw at least 1 deep ball every quarter. Just to remind the secondary that you will come after them. And when you don't take those shots, as a former defensive back, you start to creep up, you start to jump routes. And if they don't remind you that they may try and run by you, it gets harder to throw those shorter and intermediate passes.
3rd and long. Pressure. And Rohach got creamed after a decent gain. Robert Spillane made the tackle, 4-yard gain.
Well, Adams came off the edge. Keon Adams brought the pressure, and it was really just a one-on-one speed move by him. Watch him at the top of your screen. There it is. He just comes around edge with quickness. And that totally disrupted the play.
He leads the team with 5.5 sacks on this season. Darius Phillips back at his own 26-yard line. The punt from Deween. A high spiral. It bounces at the 32 where it's down. 30-yard punt, nothing on the returns. 1st and 10 for Terrell when we return.
Hola, Mr. Terrell. Hey. Main thing's the main thing tomorrow. Make sure your oar stays in the water.
You got it.
Last but not least, my house for you. Make sure your how when you look in this mirror. Your house for everybody else.
All right.
Glad you're our quarterback.
Please.
Love you, man.
Good
night. Have an elite night. See you at the boatyard. Row the boat.
That was head coach PJ Fleck of Western Michigan during bed check last night. Goes around to his players and hands them an oar, gives them a little mirror last night, tells them to look in the mirror and says, that's your opponent tomorrow. 1st down and 10. It's part of his great connection with his players. Terrell. Complete to Franklin. Got a nice block out in front of him, still on his feet. And down to the 42-yard line, and a 1st down for for the Broncos.
You talk about all the motivation stuff and the like with P.J. Fleck. He means it. You know, he sent me an oar.
He lives it, yep.
Yeah, he sent me an oar after I was diagnosed with blood cancer, and he and the team got together and they signed this oar and sent it to me and told me, row the boat every day, continue to fight and the like. And, you know, I'm rowing the boat.
Yeah. I've seen you, Rod, during the course of this season, keep your oar in the water and put one foot in front of the other, man. A very great example to follow, football and beyond. Davis with the catch. And now to the 17-yard line. This offense getting a good sense of rhythm now, going back to the last part of the second quarter.
Well, the passing game is on fire. We've seen this route a number of times. Davis digging across the middle. Ball right on time. You notice how accurate that ball is? Doesn't break stride, doesn't slow down, doesn't have to change direction, just keeps running.
Davis with the school record 307th reception of his career. So he continues to rewrite the school record book. 1st and 10. Hand off to Franklin. Franklin already with a touchdown today. This time stopped up by Hargrove. Marion Franklin, former MAC Player of the Year, is a freshman as we go down to Q.
Mark, last thing about Row the Boat that I think is amazing, having been in this town now for 3 days, the way it has become a statement for the community, not just this football team. I mean, it has pulled in everybody. We see it up on signs at convenience stores throughout town, on movie theaters, at gas stations. Everybody here is rowing the boat.
Those are tackles that Quint talked about, these big 300-pounders that are key to the rushing attack. And the rushing attack has been shaky, but those big guys.
Fumble. Terrell never seemed to get a hold of the snap, Rod, and that's the second time they've had issues down here near the red zone or in the red zone.
But it's the 4th time that they've played basketball with the football tonight. And this is just one that gets away from Terrell a little bit to his left. Wet out there, can't hang on to it.
3rd down and 6 coming up. Zach Terrell, the quarterback, already has a touchdown pass tonight. Davis split to the top of your screen.
It's over there.
He looks that way, and that was way too high. And Davis jawing with the defensive back there, and number 39, Cameron Lewis. I'm not sure that Lewis wants to step to Davis like that.
I asked him yesterday, is there much trash talk with him? And he says, yeah, guys usually come at me a little bit. Then after a few catches and a couple touchdowns, usually the talk quiets down.
Yeah.
But he's had a big night tonight, and they're still, chatting with him.
Butch Hampton, 10 of 14 on the season. This one coming from 30 yards out. So the Broncos get a field goal out of their first possession of the second half. 17-0, trying to remain undefeated. Back after this. Starts playing Christmas music on October 1st every year. Look at that, folks. He's putting up his Christmas tree early. He likes to brag that he starts the holiday season a little bit early because he functions, he thinks, he moves better with Christmas music on.
Well, first of all, new rule, you can't put a Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That used to be the rule.
Second rule, you got to have a real tree. Got to get a green. Got to get one of those.
I went over to the bad side last year. I got to fake one now too, just like Coach.
Jonesy, you're letting me down. Come on, man.
Well, looks like if Coach has it his way, he'll end up in the Cotton Bowl if things go his way and he gets his Christmas wish. You'd think that things would have to improve a little bit on the Mountain West Conference front with Boise State ahead of them at 20.
So you figure that Western Michigan fans and MAC fans have one eye on this game, and then one eye on the Boise State situation with San Diego State, Wyoming. Remember that if Wyoming loses, Boise State takes over the driver's seat in the Mountain West Conference, and they are ahead of Western Michigan.
Trying to get that group of 5 bid. There's Shrek with the catch down to the 40-yard line. So targeting Shrek much more frequently towards the end of the second quarter and here early in the third quarter. Picks up 14 on the play.
You know, actually, the Group of 5 champion that gets to the postseason, it's done pretty well in the New Year's Six games. You start projecting and looking at matchups, you know, who would Western Michigan play, who would Boise State play. Very likely something like a Colorado team.
And Wyoming just tied the game up at 17-all. Rohach into traffic and a great catch by Jamari Island. Just on the fringes of field goal range. Man, he went high and reached back.
This is not an easy grab. This ball's a little bit behind him. Watch him go up, hands in the snow. That is the biggest play they've come up with yet.
26-yard gain. You never played in the snow, did you?
Oh, no.
Warm weather Stanford guys.
Well, I went to school in California.
You're talking about snow. Come on, man. 1st and 10. Fumble. And Rohach falls on it, but they'll lose a bunch of yards all the way back at the 42.
Every time Buffalo gets an opportunity, they have a mishap. And that's just weather. I mean, that's a snap right there. Rohach loses it. A little wet. He's not wearing gloves.
And we saw Western Michigan, Rod, practice with wet balls yesterday. And you never really think about that being that much of a factor, but we've seen a few times today where it seems to have played a role in a guy dropping a football. Loss of 6. Rohach over the middle. High and incomplete, intended for Holsey. Well, this was the scene yesterday. They had dipped some footballs in water and practiced both the snap and receivers trying to catch the ball. Can you prepare for that kind of thing, Rob?
Well, they do it every week. This is part of their practice routine. You practice things like this, then at least mentally you're prepared for it. And it doesn't really throw you off when you see a wet football out there. You're like, I've done that every week in practice.
3rd down and 16. Little blitz coming. They set up the screen well, but nowhere to go for Johnson. Ended up gaining about 2 yards on the play. There was a flag down, though.
Well, Spillane blew that up. And I think the flag was the block in the back on him, too.
Yeah, Robert Spillane, the leading tackler on that defensive unit.
Block in the back. Offense. Number 77. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Well, the ball at the 38. That would make it a real long field goal for Adam Mitchison.
Remember, this began with the dropped snap. That changed the entire drive for Buffalo.
Yeah, we've seen the metrics and analytics show that when you have a negative play on 1st down, it highly impacts your ability to score a touchdown on that current drive. Deween with the punt. Well, this will be down inside the 5-yard line at the 4. 7:43 to go. Broncos with the lead when we return. AT&T. PJ Fleck turns off the lights in his office yesterday, and the transformation beginning after that to turn his office into a suite here at the stadium. They shift the furniture around, and hospitality people come in with the food and set it all up. And, well, today it's one of the prime viewing points for the game tonight.
That's an effective use of space.
Love it.
When you're a smaller school and you've got limited space, being creative and making sure that folks have the ability to have a suite, your coach has a good play. That's cool. I like that.
Resourceful.
Yeah, I like it.
This is worst starting field position for either team tonight. Broncos back on their own 5. 1st and 10. Straight ahead, that's Jarvion Franklin. Talking to Fleck about this program, you go back to one of the tipping points. He said early in his time here. The loss to Nicholls State, at the time one of the worst FCS schools in the country. They lost at home. He thought they had bottomed out. And then 2 years ago, another tipping point against Ball State. They were down 21 at half, he remembers. Came in and talked to the team passionately at halftime. They went on a 7-game win streak after that, and that began the upward arc and trend for the program. Terrell taking a deep shot. Incomplete. Intended for Davis. No flag on the play. Cameron Lewis, there's a flag down at the 43, but Lewis and Davis were jawing, remember, on the previous possession.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 39. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Didn't see it initially, partner.
Yeah, Lewis, 5'11". You see the size differential, and you see just the grab and tackle as the ball was coming, clearly pass interference. And, you know, again, I worked with Davis yesterday and was in that exact position, so I know exactly what Lewis is going through. He's 6'3" and physical. He's a real man when you're out there trying to deal with him one-on-one.
You can almost hear him out there whispering, hey, I got one. Franklin up the middle. Nice spin move, stopped up shy of the 30 by Tim Roberts. Corey Davis rewriting the conference in the school record book, receiving-wise. What was the most impressive thing you learned about working against Davis yesterday in that little session in the lab on the field?
Well, he's really smart. He's a smart receiver. You know, he's got all these skills. He's physical, he's fast, but he knows what defensive backs are trying to do and how to counteract it. He runs good routes. He's a smart receiver.
2nd and 3. They're going to run it. This is Davon Tucker, number 22, with his first run. He picks up 5. They had some fun yesterday.
4-5, huh?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, we go?
You trying to race?
Yeah, we're gonna go. Ready, set, go. I'm not that dumb.
I would have had you.
Rod, I thought you would have had him too, man.
Be piecing my hamstrings back together now.
Don't leave that Achilles out of midfield on me. First down and 10. To the edge, number 83, Michael Henry. The turbo's kicked in. Henry out loose. Rowing the boat for a touchdown. 65 yards.
Jonesy, catch the perimeter blocking. Watch those two guys out there. That is huge. And he finds the crease. Henry finds that crease between the two great blocks, and off he goes. But what tremendous blocking on the edge there.
Didn't look like there was any room for him. And he tiptoed down the sidelines, a career-long reception of 65 yards. And this game really starting to get away from Buffalo a little bit. 24-0 now. A couple of scores for the Broncos here in the third quarter. And this is how it happened. Michael Henry going the distance. Lights here at Waldo Stadium. You know, Brendan, I just want to tell Brendan, he hit me up with a message a minute ago, Rod, both of us, wants to know with a 1-year-old whether it's a fake tree year or a real tree year, as he saw PJ Fleck put his tree up. Hawkins brought down at the 23. Back in the studio. Brendan, go for the fake tree.
Oh, please. How do you get that Christmas smell if you don't have the real tree?
Spray. You can get it in a can.
Oh,
you got to go all in on the fake, man.
You're totally fake. You're a fraud. Real Christmas, man.
Less cleanup, Rod. Practicality. Johnny Hawkins in the backfield, and the pitch going nowhere to Shrek. Took that little inside shuffle pass and nowhere to go for the big man. Brought down at the line of scrimmage. May have lost a little bit. Keon Adams right there to help in on the tackle.
Well, it gets tougher and tougher now for Buffalo, and they're right on the edge, right on that precipice of having Western Michigan really open it up. They really need their offense to stay on the field, and they need to get a couple first downs. They got to help the defense out now, and that first down loss really hurts them. They need a huge play here to get back on track.
2nd and 12. Little blitz coming off the corner. Rojas under heat and sacked at the 12 by Spillane.
Spillane getting in there, taking care of business.
Consecutive losses for Buffalo.
Well, they've dialed up the heat. They brought some pressure on first down and got a sack. And here's the corner blitz. And then here comes Spillane. That's a blitz they haven't run in this game. And they ran it in this situation. And lo and behold, they get another sack out of it. And the pressure just mounts on Buffalo.
This defense for the Broncos pitching a shutout so far. Defensive coordinator Ed Pinkham doing a nice job. Rojas in the pocket, incomplete, behind Robinson, and 4th down coming up. And this defense has matured this year, and I love Coach Fleck's definition of maturity, Rod. We were talking with him yesterday. He said maturity is when doing what you have to do becomes doing what you want to do. Interesting perspective on that.
Yeah. He connects with his players. There's no denying that.
4th and 19. That's the 5th 3 and out. A little rugby punt here. Trying to keep it away from Darius Phillips, who watches it bounce at the 38 where it's down. Well, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC, Big 12 action. Oklahoma, West Virginia, number 9, number 14 in Morgantown. With the winner keeping their college football playoff hopes alive. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. The Sooners 7-0 in the Big 12. Mountaineers haven't lost at home this season.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good receiver, D.D. Westbrook.
Oh, yeah, we saw him earlier against Kansas State.
Well, between
playmaker.
Yeah, D.D. Westbrook and what you're seeing with Corey Davis, you're looking at 2 Blitnikoff candidates there this season.
First down and 10. Terrell complete to his tight end. Ernsberger right into field goal range at the 24. Boy, gave you the yards after catch, too.
Well, they're starting to empty the bucket a little bit. They don't throw to Ernsberger very often. That's his 4th catch of the season. Just a little seam route for him. Putting that on tape. They get Toledo next week. This is a little reminder to make Toledo think about some things and prepare for a little bit more than what they've been thinking about all season. Here's another wrinkle.
Interesting. Toledo at 8-2. A couple of games behind Western Michigan in the MAC West Division at 10-0. Terrell showing some good mobility here, running out of space. Complete again to his tight end, Ernsberger. Quint?
I think he's just doubled up his season catches on this drive. we mentioned it in film yesterday, Rod. You thought there was some opportunity for the tight end, and you wondered if they'd hold it for Toledo or show it now.
They're going to go quick here, handoff up the middle. That's Davon Tucker. What do you make about the tight end's involvement now?
It's on tape now. I mean, he had 3 catches coming in. He's had 2 on this drive. And again, they play Toledo next week, so Toledo now knows that they will use him on seam routes and the like.
Terrell fumbles again, and he falls on it at the 16. That fumble aside, Terrell has now gone for a career high of 402 yards passing on 23 of 30, no interceptions. That's the big number, folks. He's only thrown 1 interception this year. And he has 26 touchdown passes.
And that puts him in the company of Russell Wilson, Kellen Moore, some pretty good quarterbacks who also managed to throw only 1 pick.
Yeah, that's a nice block. 2nd down, 15. Franklin met with resistance immediately by Damone Harris. 3rd down coming up.
That's the thing about Western Michigan. You know, Quint talked about the rushing attack, and we've seen the passing attack flourish tonight. But their bread and butter is running the football, and they haven't been good at it. That offensive line that they have is considered one of the top 5 or 6 in the country, statistically.
Looking into the eyes of Franklin. He's the lone back. Terrell to Franklin. A lot of black jerseys around him, and he's swarmed at the 8. So he'll be short of the 1st down, and 4th down coming up. I think they take the field goal here. They've already scored 10 points this quarter with 1:01 to go. Terrell had been hot. He's now completed 18 of his last 22.
You mentioned the field goal and being up 24-0. This is game control. I mean, this is something that should impress the playoff committee. Pretty safe to say it looks like Western Michigan hasn't been threatened. They've controlled this game from midway through the 2nd quarter on.
His field goal attempt from 24 yards out. Hampton hits the upright for the 2nd time today. How many times do you see that happen? Back to the studio. www.fakechristmastree.com. There you go, Brandon. Big day for Michigan. Look what's happening in the state. Ohio State squeaking by Michigan State. Boy, Spartans had their chances down the stretch in that game. Michigan leading in our game here. And I'm not sure about you, but that means a little bit of traffic on I-94 after the ball game here, Rod.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Oh, you got the cop? You got the chopper today?
Don't worry about that. We still have plenty of football left.
Jordan Johnson on the run. Picks up a few with time winding down now in the 3rd quarter. Buffalo still looking for its first points of the game.
That's the end of
and
the 3rd
Coach
quarter.
Fleck sprinting, energized with 15 minutes to go. Looking to remain undefeated in this historic season for the Broncos. Thinking about the Cotton Bowl. Caught up to it a couple of weeks ago when we were out in Berkeley. Washington has since fallen out of the college football playoff top 4 teams. This is Jordan Johnson on the run. What do you make of when you've talked a lot about the committee and their variables and their criteria? What do you make of them falling out of the first 4 teams?
Well, remember, these are all interim rankings. Louisville lost the other night. Washington still has an opportunity to win the Pac-12 championship. Remember, this was a loss. So there's a chance that Washington this week could move up. With a win, they should dominate Arizona State, one would think. And at the very end, if they are in the postseason championship game in the Pac-12 and get a win, they've got a great shot.
First down and 10. That Apple Cup game against Washington State's going to be pretty interesting. This is Rohach took a hit as we go back to the studio. Boy, what about that, Rod? You were saying last week they had the surprise of the Pac-12 this year.
Yeah, but remember, doesn't matter. Washington State and Washington will play for the North Championship next week, regardless of what happens.
Right. First and 10. Rohach taking a shot, has a man, and overshot his receiver McGill, but there's a flag down on the play.
Yeah, it was held.
Big time.
That's why I overthrew him.
And you see the DB there, Sam Beal, tapping his chest. And that's mine. That might be on me.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 18, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Double move. I'm not going to give up the touchdown. I'm going to slow you down.
Good penalty then, right?
Yeah. I just get frustrated when, we had a game a couple weeks ago where that became the MO of the secondary, grab everybody. And that's just not football at that point. The strategic one every now and then, it's all right. But 4 or 5 in a row, please.
What if there's a rule change in that department at some point? I don't know how you do it. First and 10. Rohach, nobody to throw to. He got hit hard. Fumble. And the Broncos, they recover, yes. Big hit from Keon Adams, jarring the ball loose.
Well, that's probably the 5th or 6th big hit Rohach has had tonight. He's trying to hang in there, but that's just a hit from the backside. He had one arm, hadn't really secured the ball high and tight. All points of it protected. Didn't have that. Got the hit from behind.
Yeah, there's Adams, number 1, and that hit snapping Rohach's head back. It was so violent. It's interesting in talking with head coach P.J. Fleck about Keon Adams, number 1. This is a team with a lot of understated, really humble, soft-spoken guys. Adams might be the guy that's on the perimeter of that a little bit. It's a nice way of saying he likes to talk a little bit, Rod. I'm trying to be nice. Terrell has all day and finds his back. Franklin out of the backfield. First down and picks up about 16 on the play. Q.
That was a great job by Terrell. Off a sudden change, they wanted to take a shot. Buffalo did a wonderful job deep covering Davis on a post. Quarterback checks it down, finds his running back in the flat. Just such a smart quarterbacking move, understanding clock and score and situation.
That's why he only has 1 pick this season. He didn't force that ball down the field, Q. Instead, he came off of it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, what a transformation Terrell has made since Coach P.J. Fleck came aboard. He was actually here before Fleck took the job. Changed his career for the better. Hand off to Franklin. Nice move to the edge, and Franklin finally pushed out of bounds. Right at the 23 or so.
Franklin is 220 pounds and quicker, faster, shiftier than you would imagine for a guy that size.
He moves it down to the 23. Terrell, the MBA student, 5th-year player. Taking that Buffalo defense to school on the pitch. The jet sweep to Davis. And Davis got stood up, and Tim Roberts was bringing some knock on that play.
Yeah, the JC transfer from Fullerton came in at 205 pounds, and watch him meet Davis right in the hole.
He tightened him up.
Sized him up.
Ball down at the 20. The Buffalo defense still hitting a little bit. 2nd and 7. Davis in motion. The give is to number 22, Davon Tucker. You know, we were talking about Terrell, the quarterback, and you and I and Quint were standing around talking about it after our meetings, that when Fleck took over, he got Terrell aside and said, you know, you're a little bit too quiet, and that's not a great way to lead. And since that time, those two have really bonded, gotten on the same page, and Terrell has really become an exemplary leader for this football team.
Yeah, he's not as loud as P.J. Fleck. I mean,
who can be?
He's upped his game a little bit, but, you know, there's only one Fleck.
3rd and 4. Franklin trying to pick his spots. Gets the first down. Boy, he's pretty good at moving that pile. And as Fleck likes to say, if you're juiceless, you're useless.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious as to what you and Q think. I mean, do you think there's any chance Western Michigan can keep P.J. Fleck here one more season?
I mean, as a prospect, Q, he's hotter than July right now.
Yeah, if he was a stock, I'd be buying. He makes $820,000 right now. He's the highest paid coach in the MAC. He's going to need a raise to keep him here.
Well, his bonuses will push him up to $1 million this year.
First down and 10. Terrell keeps it himself. Running close to the first down at the 2. Zach Terrell taking out his do-it-yourself kit.
Watch him do the read there. He will read the outside guy and keep it. Perfect read there.
And they blow a timeout and flag actually on the play. But that was the first time today, Rod, we've actually seen some good running from the quarterback.
Ball start. Offense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
They typically don't run him early. I mean, they run the inside zone and they have the read game in their repertoire, but they don't use that until late, and they'll give an occasional run with him after you focused on the back so much. But it's a change-up for them. It is not their bread and butter to run Terrell. I don't blame him. He's so valuable as a passer.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want to run him 15 times a game.
Keeping him out of harm's way. 2nd and 6. Tucker in the backfield. Terrell on the fade. Caught. Davis, touchdown. There's a flag down as well, though.
I think it's pass interference. Pass interference or a hold.
Didn't seem to matter on Corey Davis. Here's the call coming.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 41. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
When I tell you he's physical, look at this. Look at him get through that. He is so strong. We're talking about a guy who can bench press 225 pounds.
18 times.
18, 20 times. That's what you get at the combine for some linemen.
Wow, Boise Ross, the DB on that play, was holding him like a grudge and still couldn't stop Corey Davis. That's his 2nd touchdown catch of the day. And as you watch this play one more time, Corey Davis, transcendent player in this conference. Listen closely, folks. You can hear him tell Boise Ross, weight room. That's where he's been. Back after this. Drive recap. And so many impressive drives and plays orchestrated by quarterback Zach Terrell. Pinpoint passing, precision to both his back Franklin and his wide receiver Corey Davis. Terrell 27 of 34 today, Rod, and a career high 435 yard passing.
But we're not surprised, are we?
No.
We saw this coming. They've been doing this throughout their careers. Davis and Terrell putting on a show, and man, Terrell was just kind of spread it around tonight to some other receivers as well.
All that, and he told me he aced his last test, his MBA student test in change management. Big hit on the return at the 25-yard line. Jamari Island brought down.
So the question is this performance tonight good enough to impress the playoff selection committee. Is it enough to push Western Michigan back in front of Boise State?
You play for style points a little bit right now if you're PJ Fleck, I would think. I think you keep
Absolutely.
that foot firmly pressed on the accelerator.
Well, they don't have the strongest schedule, although they have wins over 2 Big Ten teams, Northwestern and Illinois. So another dominant performance and staying undefeated gives you the argument to say, hey, we have dominated everyone at our level, and we have a couple of Big Ten wins.
Right. Yeah, they scheduled up and got some quality ones with, as you mentioned, Northwestern and Illinois. The give is to Jordan Johnson. Q?
Here's the deal with Boise. They beat Washington State in week 2. It was a game we did. Who would have guessed that the Cougars of Washington State would be where they are right now, leading their division in the Pac-12? So that win by Boise has grown and continues to grow in value.
Yeah, you're right. Keep in mind, though, Washington State is locked in a battle with Colorado today. If Washington State loses that game, Western Michigan should get a boost because Boise State will take a little bit of a hit.
Right. Only one spot separating the two teams, trying to represent that group of 5 teams in the Cotton Bowl. Part of the New Year's Six, the pass complete to Marcus McGill. With 8:43 to go in the ball game, this defense for the Broncos pitching a shutout.
Unless we keep jumping ahead, remember Western Michigan has a big game next week with 8-2 Toledo. So we can't put them in the Cotton Bowl yet.
Gain at 27 on that last play. Rush from the edge. And Rohach sacked on the play. Good rush by Keon Adams. And, you know, I guess you have to give, Rod, and Quint, Western Michigan some credit for not falling prey to looking ahead a little bit to that game against Toledo. Toledo, a decent 8-2 team in the MAC. Rohach sacked right near the line of scrimmage, actually, by Caleb Bailey.
Well, the first 20 minutes of this game, Western Michigan looked like they were distracted, not totally into it. They put the ball on the ground 3 times. Talk about a team that doesn't turn it over. They had turned it over in the first 20 minutes, 3 fumbles, I believe.
Yeah. I love the point that PJ Fleck told his team, hey, we don't want to run from the hype. We want to embrace the spotlight and the attention and learn how to deal with it. Don't let it overwhelm us. Low and incomplete. At the 35-yard line, intended for Jacob Martinez that time. There have been 56 firsts or never before dones here at Western Michigan so far, and they continue to author a real
never been done before. What first? What do you mean?
10-0 season.
Okay, got you.
And
game day, I guess.
Yeah, game day. I mean, Coach Count told us there were 56, and you know what? I'm going to believe the Tony Robbins of college football. About 7.5 minutes to go. We could build a graphic and list them all.
I mean, like those 2 wins over Big Ten teams,
yes.
2 Power 5 teams?
Illinois and Northwestern. Great way to start the year and set the table. Back to the zoo after this.
It was a great night, 435 yards, 4 TDs. The targets for Davis, 12 receptions on 16 targets, a couple touchdowns. And Buffalo, they've not run a single play in the red zone tonight. They've barely crossed midfield 5 times on 12 drives.
And bad news for them now is that Western Michigan with control of the football. Terrell still in at quarterback. Franklin motioning out of the backfield. Can't find anybody downfield, so he hits Franklin, who's gang tackled at the 12. And Rod, what do you make of the fact that Terrell's still in the ball game here? At what point do you start to think about yanking him?
Now, I was just thinking the same thing and wondering if we were going to get Tom Flacco in there. Again, you've got a big game next week with Toledo. You got some bad weather here. I certainly wouldn't want Terrell throwing it anymore, taking the risk of any more hits in the pocket.
2nd down and 8, under 7 minutes to play. Terrell has been near flawless today. Pulls it out on the option and is brought down by Charles Harris. I love the perspective that Fleck provides his players, and we were talking with him. He talked about failing is growth, and we have a time out on the field with an injury. A player from Buffalo down in the field. We're going to stay right here, but talked about how our failures help us to learn. And another variable in his ability to connect with, 18 to 22-year-olds who experience a lot of failure at this time of their lives.
And he talks about embracing and accepting those failures, learning from them, and moving forward, using them to help you go forward. And that's all part of the theme of Row the Boat. Understand where you are, what you have, and move on from it and be positive.
And P.J. Fleck there, 1-11 in his first year. 4 years later, 10-0. Quint.
Failing is growth. Failure is when you quit. You must embrace your past to determine your future. It's been 3 weeks with this team, and I tell you, after the first week with Coach Fleck, you kind of look at him like, wow, this guy's he's a little different. I'm not sure about all this stuff. And then 2 weeks later, we're talking about a book that he recommended to me that I started reading, and you see the impact. You guys mentioned the word connection. Stimulate, motivate, communicate. He does it well.
Container defensive play of the game.
Meanwhile, look at the injured Buffalo player coming off the field. That's Charles Harris out of Southfield, Michigan. 6'4", 260-pound sophomore. Good to see him up and moving.
I think if P.J. Fleck winds up coaching someplace else next year, or even the year after that, his program and getting people to buy into Row the Boat will be easier than it was this time.
Right.
Keep in mind, this is his first head coaching job. He hadn't done this before.
Let me ask you this. Does the whole Row the Boat mantra, is it transferable, or does it stay here at Western Michigan? Does it go with him to his next job? How do those? That's an odd kind of thing to think about. Anyway, tonight, folks, at 8 o'clock on ABC, Big 12 battle, number 9 Oklahoma, number 14 West Virginia and Morgantown, with the winner keeping their college football playoff hopes alive. Streaming live on Watch ESPN as well as the ESPN app. That's at 8 o'clock. About an hour and a half from now, we'll be on the interstate, headed to the hotel and get comfortable and watch that game. Third down and 4.
A win by West Virginia might get them into the top 10.
They run the play clock down to 10. Franklin make that Tucker. Had one man to beat and brought down by the last line at the 46. 27-yard gain.
Jonesy, look at this hole right there. Look at that big bubble.
And he was gone. Davon Tucker sprinting through it. Under 6 minutes to go. From the 43. Western Michigan, one of the great stories in college football this year. Led by their 36-year-old head coach, P.J. Fleck. Terrell on the post. And incomplete, intended for Carrington Thompson. Defended nicely by Ryan Williamson, who had a little bit of help back there.
I still say take him out. I mean, at this point, 31-0, 5 minutes to go.
You think the College Football Playoff Committee has seen all they need to see at this point?
Yeah. They've seen enough game control here. Western Michigan has dominated this thing. Buffalo hasn't threatened to score all night. You've got a big game next week. I'd protect Terrell. I'd protect Davis. I'd get ready. I'd get Flacco in and give him a few reps to get ready in case you need him. But all their frontliners are still out there.
And the clock running with 5:22 to go. Play clock ran out on him.
You know what I mean? It's just, if you have something go wrong, you have to answer that question. Why'd you have him in the game?
Western Michigan.
Right now, there seems to be a lot to lose and very little to gain at 31 Love. frigid outside, folks. Day started off snowing. It cleared up a little bit. And it's been on and off since right around kickoff, but didn't bother P.J. Fleck and his Broncos.
You notice the tie that he wears? That's his ode to Mike Nolan, former 49er coach.
One of his mentors and major influences. There's Davis. Got a block out there and pushed out of bounds near midfield on Buffalo's side of midfield at about the 49 on 3rd down. Coming up. Approaching 5 minutes to go.
But that tie, P.J. Fleck said, Mike Nolan, classiest guy he was ever around. Learned from him the need to be classy. Follows that.
I like that look.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a Christmas color tie, too, I think. That catch, meanwhile, for Davis tied his career high, his 13th. And talked about the old 49ers coach, Nolan, being one of his major influences.
Takes something away from just about every coach he's had. Jim Tressel learned poise, Jerry Kill, how to care. And it's clear he cares about his players here. And Greg Schiano taught him not only to demand from others, but to demand from himself.
It was interesting. We had a chance to watch one of his staff meetings and one of the features they ran on SportsCenter on game day. And it's pretty demanding of his coaches. Gets them fired up inside their meeting rooms. Fabian Johnson in the backfield. This is Johnson out of South Florida, Northwestern High School, a diminutive and dynamic tailback, one of 4 tailbacks that'll get a touch in each of the games. This is a very unselfish group of football players.
Yeah, and that was one of the better runs over the right side tonight. Over there behind Taylor Moton, the right tackle, who is an all-conference player, Outland Trophy candidate. Again, they've got a couple tackles that go 300 plus, who I think could play in the Big Ten.
Running the play clock down. They snap it at 6. Johnson again. And Johnson picks up the first down. You know, what a great picture this is, and a portrait of the little train that could, the little school that can at 10-0. And the only missing part for me sentimentally is that our old late friend, our good friend John Saunders, wasn't here at his alma mater to witness this today. But we know that John is up top, transitioned to a better place, and looking down on us now, watching this game and feeling this game and smiling about the success of his alma mater.
Well, he loved his Broncos, didn't he?
Sure did. Former SportsCenter anchor and college football anchor. Played hockey here at Western Michigan along with his brother Bernie. And another first down run by Fabian Johnson. Here's a look at John, 74-76. And earlier today, game day, some signage honoring John, a good buddy, and they got a couple oars in the water for John Saunders today here in Kalamazoo. I always like to tease him about that blowout kid afro he had. Come on, Rod, you know you had one too.
Oh man, that's why I've got no hair today.
That S curl move, you know, 1st and 10. Terrell scrambling and knocked down inside the 10 at the 9 with 2:23 to go. Well, looks like they're going to go for another touchdown here.
Well, clearly they're focused on finishing, on finishing this game and completing. So the oars are still in the water. There's no question about it. I'm up here talking about, hey, next week, protect your quarterback, don't get any more hits. And they're like, no, we are rowing forward. We're going with this.
Coach P.J. Fleck, you're either an oar or an anchor. Ernsberger at the top of your screen, and the handoff is to Johnson. Pardon me. Yeah, Johnson got another one. Touchdown Broncos. And the cannon firing off in the distance. Well, the Broncos were a little disjointed early in this football game with a couple of turnovers and didn't quite get into their rhythm. It was 14-0. And in the second half, the offense kicked in. Johnson with the finishing touches. As the game day gang rolled in on Tuesday, Coach Fleck making bed check, delivering juice boxes to his players. And then Saturday morning, Reese and the crew doing their thing prior to the game and moments before the game, in the hours before the game. A lot of snow, but after that, touchdowns began falling from the sky. Not snow. Davis went to work on that secondary with surgical precision, breaking records, both conference ones and school ones. And Terrell also having a record-making day. School record for career passing yards included. Jonathan Hawkins on the kickoff return. Now, Rod, you've been in this position. Do defensive players really think about shutout at this time of the game?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it that big a deal that us in the booth talk about?
Yes, it is one of your goals. It's on your board. You have targets each week. A shutout is one of them. You have targets for the number of yards you want to allow.
So you're going to tell me somebody can be mad if the second or third string guy lets Buffalo score here?
Absolutely. You as a starter now, and you got the second string in, you are up on the sideline telling those guys make plays. Okay. You don't want them to give up your shutout, without a doubt.
Tackle made on Johnson by Brown. Asante Brown, one of the first guys to get there.
But you don't have to worry about the backups here making plays. They still have their starters out there on defense to preserve this shutout.
Yeah, Brown, one of them. A lot of those number ones still on the field for Western Michigan. An impressive performance here today after a slow starting first half. 2nd and 7 coming up.
Well, they've played well. They've never been threatened. Buffalo has never run a play tonight in the red zone.
Nice tackle that time by Spillane, leading tackler on that Bronco defense. Western Michigan, ranked number 21, one spot behind Boise State. Boise State needs Wyoming to lose in the Mountain West Conference. And they're in a tight battle right now against San Diego State.
But what a matchup next week for Western Michigan against Toledo. They have to control their own destiny. They have to handle that and beat Toledo, and that's going to be one serious ballgame.
Yeah. Western Michigan had the second longest winning streak in the country coming into the game tonight, behind only Alabama, that little team down in Tuscaloosa. This is Johnson on the loose, and the defense thinking about keeping that shutout intact. 3rd and 8. Maybe the last play of the game coming up here.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the committee does on Tuesday night. Again, last week they flip-flopped Boise State and Western Michigan. This has been a dominant performance tonight by Western Michigan. And so we'll watch Tuesday.
Knowing what we know right now, any guess?
I was surprised that they moved Boise State ahead.
Right.
You know, so it wouldn't surprise me if they kept them where they are, or if they moved Western Michigan ahead by 1 next week. Wouldn't surprise me.
6 seconds to go. Rohach taking a shot deep. Incomplete. And time has expired. The Western Michigan Broncos improved to 11-0 on the season with their 13th consecutive win, the second longest winning streak in the country, behind only Alabama. Corey Davis with a big day. Coach Fleck able to keep his team's focus on today and not beyond as we go downstairs to Quint.
handshakes and congratulations. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you very much.
After what you called a sloppy start, how would you best describe the response your team gave there in the second and second half?
Resilient, gutsy. You know, it's not easy, especially in the conditions that we're in. And we didn't start very fast, but, you know, this team has so much resolve and they care for each other so much. They were able to find a way, even though you're not playing your best, they were able to find a way to win, and that's what elite teams find a way to do.
What was notable about Zach Terrell today?
His poise. I mean, he is the most poised kid I've ever been around in my entire life. He is truly a special player, special person. He should win every trophy he's up for.
You call this week historic, now that it's kind of almost done here.
Let's give it up for your
Yeah. How was it for you, Coach?
You know what I say? It was historic for our community, for our players, for our city. It was unbelievable, and I think College Game Day said it all when you saw the attendance there. Special place Kalamazoo is. Special place WMU is as well.
Congratulations, Coach.
All right, Q. And the school fight song fired up. 38-0, the final score. Next week they'll take on MAC opponent Toledo. A team that should put up a pretty good challenge at 8-2. College football continues on ESPNU as Arkansas takes on Mississippi State. For Rod and Quint, I'm Mark Jones. Folks, keep those oars in the water. Thanks for watching. Right now, the College Football Scoreboard.